If you've been following the guitar industry and remember the older headlines, say from 2017 or 18, it was all, doom and the guitar industry is gonna fail. All these headlines. Remember those? And now, if you actually look at the headlines in say 2020 and 2021, it's this. In fact, some of the experts are comparing the current guitar boom to the post-Beatles era in terms of sales and popularity. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dig deeper into these numbers and see how much of this is actually a reality, how much of this is actually misrepresentation, and what's in store for the guitar industry. Stay tuned. We're going to divide this video into 3 sections. Let's look at the current numbers, some of the current statistics, some of the trends according to guitar companies and other news sources. And then the last portion, we're going to do a reality check and arrive at our own conclusions, at least try to. Some of them are assumptions and some of them are basically my own analysis. So feel free to leave your comment below on what you think on any of those points. Now, the pandemic, the whole COVID-19 situation was bad for the world. It also resulted in a lot of people, being locked up at home, trying to learn new things, repicking the guitars or the other musical instruments that they used to play, etc. And according to a Fender study, 16 million people picked up the guitar, bass, or other musical instruments during the lockdown period. And the study also estimates that the new guitarists are between the age group of 13 and 34. Now, all of these numbers definitely added to the sales because all these guys would have picked up new guitars. Even older guitarists like me, I picked up a lot of gear during lockdown. I'm pretty sure you also did and contributed to the current numbers. And the current numbers for guitars is at $9.2 billion, which saw a 15% jump from 2019 numbers. And I'm talking about 2020 numbers. And if I compare that to 2008, it's an 86% jump in sales. There are some amazing numbers clocked by some of the companies, which includes Fender clocking $700 million in sales, Sweetwater smashing the record and clocking a $1 billion sales, which reminds me, you should smash that subscribe button because we have some very interesting guitar related videos coming up. By the way, Guitar Center doubled up their sales. PRS reported a $75 million sale, which is 12% up from the earlier year. Taylor saw a 4x increase in sales. Now, all of these numbers are super enthusiastic and definitely supports the claim that we are in a gold rush. This is a new post-Beatles era, happening for the guitar industry. Let's look deeper. When I say there's an 86% jump from 2008 numbers, we easily forget, and the news sites also easily forget, that 2008 was the worst year for the, financially. It was a post-Lehman crash. It was post-subprime era. So the industry overall dropped. So we are looking at it from a lower base. Now, these are the stats. I'm putting the total guitar sales in the US. If you actually see, the 2005 numbers are actually higher than 2019 numbers. And if I look at the overall musical instrument sales, we are just nearly there, right? If you compare to the 2006 numbers, which is a skyscraper which you're seeing, we're just a little above that. And this is not inflation adjusted. So the reality is, we're just back to the old numbers. So it's not some, it's the industry has just jumped up. It's like, the phoenix rising. No, we're just back to the older numbers. That's it. Let's look at some interesting statistics now. Of the 2020 sales, 48% were electric guitars, acoustic guitars were 18.6%, and semi-acoustic guitars were 33.2%. Most of the registrants, 70% of the registrants in the Fender Play app were 45 and up. Majority of the sales, that is 46% of the guitar sales in 2020 came in from the Asia Pacific region. And Fender clearly released a news item that majority of the sales were actually the cheaper guitars. It was a $200 to $1,000 range. I'm pretty sure it'll be $200 to $500 range for that matter, which actually made up majority of the sales. Now, when you look at these numbers, you start questioning what's happening in the industry. Because number one, because of these, because of the trend which we are seeing, maybe this growth is not sustainable. Because now that the lockdown is over, how many of those, senior guitar players going back and buying new gear? Maybe it'll happen, but is this growth sustainable? That's a question. Number two, if majority of the sales is happening from the Asia Pacific region, how much of that is going to translate to higher end guitars? Now let me put these two news items together. If Fender clocked $700 million in sales, why are they laying off people? If Guitar Center doubled their sales, why are they laying off people? Now these are some scary signs. So this is where we try to draw conclusions. My opinion is this growth is not sustainable. Maybe the industry will fall back to the earlier growth rates or lower growth rates, or maybe around 3 to 5%. So all those magic numbers may not happen. Second, because it's the cheaper guitars and the buyers are from Asia Pacific, a lot of manufacturing will shift. More manufacturing. It's already happening a lot in China. In fact, if I have to throw some China numbers, only in 2018, China produced 30 million units, around 3/4 of world's guitars, according to one of the news articles. I don't know how much of that is reality, but I'm seeing a lot of shift happening towards China and a shift happening towards cheaper guitars. In fact, I was discussing with a friend of mine who is in touch with one of the manufacturers, who based out of Indonesia, who make guitars for a large brand. I don't want to name names here. They refused manufacturing because the demand for lower price and lower quality was not in their ethics to manufacture. So you're going to see a lot of these things happening. So save up your old guitars. They may be very valuable later. So these signs indicate that a lot of the hype around these news articles may not be true. Let me know what your opinions are, and let's discuss that maybe over another video. Thank you.